On October the 10th, we're having a hearing in Bastrop. Rodney, they're going to bring Rodney back to Bastrop. And we're having a hearing there in Bastrop over new evidence. There's tons of new evidence out there. So keep that in your prayers. If you can get out there and support us, support us. But that is October 10th. We get a chance to swing back at them. Hello?
All right, we will see you out there October. Okay, so our next speaker is Rose Collins. She is the mother of twins Jason Hammond and Jeremy Hammond. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Jason did some time for getting into a righteous melee with some Nazis. Jeremy is a hacker who is serving 10 years for showing that Stratfor was trying to infiltrate Occupy Austin and about another million or so other emails. And she's here to talk to us today about what it's like to have both of your kids locked up.
It sucks. A little more, Jeremy hacked the crap out of the government over and over again. And he did what he did, okay? He's not innocent. It wasn't a failed system. Oh, wait. It was the failed system that he was exposing, okay? And I do not politically agree with much of what he says, but I'm his mom, and I don't want him in jail, okay? They treat them like they're subhuman, and you know this. You do not look like a piece of dung. You look like a nice lady. And I'm sorry, if somebody tries to rape me, I'm gonna put a gun up your ass, all right? It's Texas, we're allowed to do that. I don't know why they picked on you over it. Oh, see, that's your first problem. Okay, well, now, Jeremy exposed a lot of stuff, like, I don't know if any of y'all did the Occupy, wherever you might have been that week, but they were watching him. The government was watching, they were sticking their nose right up their, whatever. But at one point, when Jeremy was looking at 30 to life, Jason was with this group called Antifa, which is an anti-fascist group. And they went into some restaurant in South Chicago that was having a white supremacist meeting for a peaceful protest with sticks. So he too did what he did, but he was not caught that day. He was caught a year later with DNA they had at the crime scene. Now, they never had Jason's DNA, but guess whose DNA they did have access to? His twin brother, Jeremy, who was looking at 30 to life. He ended up getting 10 years by a corrupt judge. Her name is Loretta. That's the nicest thing I could say about her. So I have to agree with Rodney's brother. The system is corrupt. They do what they can to get their pockets fatter, and they don't care about my son, okay? His white privilege did not get him too far, okay? But he did what he did, and he's proud of it too, because, you know, stand up and be nice to each other. You know, we wouldn't have all this capitalism, socialism crap if my son, the genius, would have been a biologist and got rid of the jerk gene that we all share, okay? Because then we could all give each other what we need. You know, I try to do that, but there's just only so much for me to go around. So now, what they did with Jeremy, he hacked a Austin, Texas company from Chicago. They put him on the Con Air thing, brought him to Oklahoma City in shackles, and then brought him way over to New York City to face trial, where he did get his trial 2 years later after being stuck. Do you remember Hurricane Sandy? They shut down. Everybody was in solitary because they had no running water. So they had to poop in a toilet that's got, you know, 4 days worth of poop in it already. These are not conditions you would expose your dog to. All right, and 2 years later, she gave him the book. And then they said, oh, we'll move you closer to home. So what did they do? They put him in a place called Manchester, Kentucky. There are 3 teeth in that whole city. And to go visit my son, which I, at the time, was the only one on the list that could go visit him, I would have to get on a plane, go to Louisville, Kentucky, or somewhere in Kentucky, and then rent a car and drive an hour and a half in the middle of nowhere to see my son. And I guess I'm not that entertaining to him, because 3 days with that, and he's ready to be in solitary again. But now, during this time, Jason kind of got in trouble 5 years ago for sleeping at a Valero, and then left and went home. comes back through Houston, the armpit of America, and he gets arrested there on an old warrant. Now, I drove out there to bail him out. Took 3 days. I got to see some of Houston that makes me never want to go back. Part of it is the homeless people that are sleeping on the sidewalks. Nobody takes care of him. Nobody cares. It took 3 days to get him out, and I finally did. So having 2 kids in jail at one time will just rip your heart to shreds. Now, I've not been in jail myself, but I see what they did to my children. They eat like this, you know, and they talk a little funny because, you know, they got that prison drawl, and they teach racism in the prisons. Okay, Jeremy got in trouble for teaching a black kid math. Okay, so he got in trouble with the Aryans or whoever, and he ended up hanging out with the American Indians, and that worked out well for him. He's not an Indian, he's a white boy, but he loves people. People of all colors and races. What I did notice was that when I visited him, there were some black people, there were some white people, there were a few Asians in there, no Hispanics. I'm like, don't they have Mexicans in Kentucky? And Jeremy's like, well, yeah, they do, but all their family cannot visit them because a lot of them are illegals. So undocumented, whatever you call them, they can't go visit their family. So not only are they cut off from those they love, this poor guy sitting in prison has nobody. Nobody. So if you know of anybody of Latin descent in jail, visit them, send them a letter, give them some love, pray for them, you know, because they got it worse than I think anybody. You know, I mean, it's terrible. Oh, one more thing. I want to read to you just a quick paragraph of Jeremy's sentencing statement, and after I finish reading it, I'll tell you why. You could roll the cameras, but I'll go to jail for it, so let's see. These intrusions took place in January and February of 2012 and affected over 2,000 domains, including numerous foreign government websites in Brazil, Turkey, Syria, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Nigeria, Iran, Slovenia, Greece, Pakistan, and others. A few of the compromised websites that I recollect included the official website of the governor of Puerto Rico, the Internal Affairs Division of the Military Police of Brazil, the official website of the Crown Prince of Kuwait, the Tax Department of Turkey, the Iranian Academic Center for Education and Cultural Research, the Polish Embassy in the UK, and the Ministry of Electricity in Iraq. He did not hack Hogwarts. But the reason I read that is because that has been redacted, and he is not allowed to say that. These are countries that he hacked for the United States government unknowingly. So he's a genius. Yeah, he is. But sometimes even they lack some wit. Nevertheless, the American government was embarrassed that he's admitting to hacking these sites for the government. Why? Because we're not supposed to do that. We're Americans. We're the good people here. Well, again, that jerk gene shows up. And so I just broke a federal law exercising my First Amendment right. Yeah. Anyway, so love one another, love everybody else. I know it says that in the Bible and all, but it's a good idea, okay? And take care of people. And take care of my children. He gets out in 2021, maybe 2020 if he does a drug program. God bless. Amen, brother. So I'll give it back to Azura.
So grab a red flyer and send Jeremy a postcard. And next we have Akwesi Evans, who